Prabhu Nityananda
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda
Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda
Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda
Siradvaita Gadahara Srivasadi Gauravakta Vrinda
Radha Srivasadi Gauravakta Vrinda
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare
Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare
Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare
Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna
Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna Rama Rama
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare
Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Jai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol
Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari
Jayo
Bol
Sachinandana Jayo Sachinandana
Jai Sachinandana Jai Sachinandana
Jayo Sachinandana Jayo Sachinandana
Jai Sachinandana Jai Sachinandana
Jayo Sachinandana Gaura Hari
Jai Sat-cit-ananda Gaura Hari.
Jayo Sachinandana Gaura Hari.
Jai Sat-cit-ananda Gaura Hari.
Hari Hari Gaura Hari.
Hari Hari Gaura Hari.
Hari Hari Gaura Hari.
Hari Hari Gaura Hari.
Jayo Sachinandana Gaura Hari.
Jai Sat-cit-ananda Gaura Hari.
Jayo Sachinandana Gaura Hari.
Jai Sat-cit-ananda Gaura Hari.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Nitai Gaura Premanande, Hari Bol. Srila Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj ki, Jai. All devotees ki, Jai.
Jai Sri Prabhupada. Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Gurudev, Srila Sridhara, Srila Santa Maharaj, Ki Jai. Jai Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Jai Samaveda Bhakti.
Jai.
Glory to all devotees worldwide. Ki Jai. Jai Go Premanandi. Hari Hari.
Hari.
Go to page 38. 38, yes. The Kirtan guide. Santa Maharaj, I think, is in Puri now. Jagannath Puri. And he won't be coming to Sangha today because of that. He put up some videos on his tour. Yeah. He seems to have put up some videos already of what's going on in Puri. Had some lectures to attend to and making some plans, I guess. Rath Yatra for the devotees. Yeah, to visit, what's his name? Vrindavan?
Sajjan.
Oh, Sajjan.
He lives in Mauritius, but a little
A little far from Jagannath Puri.
yeah. I think in between Calcutta and Puri in Orissa,
Oh,
like on the way.
okay. Okay. Vandana.
Vandana.
Vandeham Sri Guru.
Shri Guru.
Vyutaparakam.
Sri Guru Vainavancha Sri Rupa Sajayata Sagana Raguna Tam Sajivan Advaitam Savadutam Pariyana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha
Krishna
Bhagavan
Sahagana
Sita Sripad Janaccha Salakaya Chakshuru Mridandina Kamai Sri Gurave Namaha Oya Sri Guru Bhargavandita Mahavadambita Jasada Purva Parya Parampara Pracharita Prayamurtate Bande Sri Guru Devananat
Gorva Vishwas
Supuratam Guru Gaina Sita Sambhushitam Sita Chitya Samastavedam Shri Rupapantam
Govinda
Bande Vishwa Guru Shanti Bhava Prema Hivya Pradam Etanishanu Shushantam Balarta Silasitam Sandrananda Puran Sadeko Maranamaya Bodhi Shubhakilasitam Karadvam Ambaram Andresan Suram Madeka Karanam
Shri Siddhanta
Saraswati Vidito Yogarangaye Bato Vauniva Pravata Gavane Yoga Rasakitane Maharaja Yoga Gata Jivanman Krishna Prema Sudabhirahana Sudam Prabhutam Kaye Namo Choraya Bhakta Vadutamurtaye Gaurangri Pramadingaya Radhavavani Sevine Namodeva Kirodam Sri Gaura Shakti Swarupakam Bhakti Saskaya Karanyam Radha Sudani Rajachakai Vaishnavyagraham Jaganata Prabhu Bande Premadi Virga Vaishnavam Vanchakalpartarubhasa Kripa Sindhuya Evasha Patitanam Pavaneyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namaha
Panchakatmatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Swarupakam
Bhaktavataram Namami Bhaktashaktikam Namo Mahavandayaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Srimaya Krishna Chaitanya Name Gaura Tvi Nama Jaya Sudhata Mamamanda Mater Gati Masarva Padamboyao Radamadana Ohanao Parumada Sri Naranga Sri Sanatana Sri Gandharva Sri Raghavinda Pretali Shamana Usmari
Shriman Rasa
Sarasandi Asiva Tatasita, Rasam Venutanai Gopim, Gopina Rayetuna, Vindayai Tunasivai, Priyayai Kichamasha, Krishna Bhakti Pradidevi, Satyavadai Namo Namaha. Guru Padapataran, Vyasayata Guru Namo, Rato Diajo Mudiraje.
Jai
Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Srila Dvaita Gadadhara, Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jai Srila Prabhupada, Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Guru Dev, Srila Sridhara, Srila Santa Maharaja ki jai. Jai Giri Govardhan ki jai. Samaveda Bhakta ki jai. Premanandi
Hari
Sripad Paramahamsa Sripad Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj ki jai.
Jai.
Jai this kitchen. Or Bhakta. Let's see. Page 45.
Samsaradava nalalidhalo Tranaya karunya gana ganatvam
Sansarada
Praptasya kalyana gunarnavasya Vande Guru Shri Charanavindam Vande Guru Shri Charanavindam Vande Guru Shri Charanavindam
Vande Guru Sri Charanaravinda, Vande Guru Sri Charanaravinda.
Mahaprabhu Kirtana Nritya Gita Paritramadyan Manasurasena
Mahaprabhu Kirtana Nitya Gita,
Paritramadyan
Manasurasena.
Romanchakam Pasrutaranga Bhajo Vande Guru Shri Charanavindam
Vande Guru
Vande Guru Shri Charanavindam Vande Guru Shri Charanavindam
Vande Guru Vande Guru Sri Charanaravinda.
Vigrahara Dhana Nityanana Sringaratan Mandira Majanado
Singaratam Mandira Bhajanado
Parinjuta Prabhu Vande Guru Shri Charanavindam
Kalinunga Shobhi, Bande Guru,
Ye Guru Shri Charanarvindam. Ande Guru Shri Charanarvindam.
Bande Guru Sri Charanaravinda.
Bande Guru,
Sri
Charanaravinda.
Yatur Vidha Shri Bhagavat Prasada Svadavan Tan Hari Bhakta Sangam.
Chaturvila Sri
Bhakti
Bhagavad
Bhagavate
Prasada
Sadhana, Bhagavana
Sadhana
Krishna
Hari
Hari
Bhakta
Bhakta Sangam,
Sangha
Vaibhav Bhajata Sadaiva Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam.
Kitaiva
Bhagavate
Priti Bhajata
Bhagavata Sadhana,
Sadhaiva Bande
Vande
Guru
Guru
Sri
Charanaravinda.
Charanaravinda.
Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam. Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam.
Vande
Bande
Guru
Guru Sri
Charanaravinda.
Charanaravinda.
Vande
Bande Guru
Guru
Sri
Charanaravinda.
Charanaravinda.
Radhika Madhavurapara Madhurya Lila Guna Rupanam.
Sri
Radhika
Radhika Madhava
Madhavurapara
Yoraparo Madhurya
Madhurya
Lila
Gunarupanam.
Gunarupanam.
Pratikshasta Vadana Lolupasya Vande Guru Shri Charanavindam.
Lopapasya Vande Guru Charanarvindam.
Vande Guru Shri Charanavindam. Vande Guru Shri Charanavindam.
Vande Guru Sri Charanarvindam. Vande Guru Sri Charanarvindam.
Nikunjayuno retikele sedha Yayali vir yukira pechaniya.
Vayolo Radikeli Sridhaya Jayali Vir Yokera Paniya.
Aprati daksha rati balabhasya Pande Guru Shri Charanarvindam.
Pratidakya Ati Vallabhasya
Bande Guru
Guru
Sri
Charanarvindam.
Charanaravinda.
Ashadari Vena Shamasta Shastra Ukta Sata Bhavyata Eva Sadi.
Vena Samasta Shastri
Prabhupada Priya Eva Tata Ande Guru Shri Charanaravinda.
Indra Uja Priya Vataya Bande Guru Sri Charanaravinda.
Ande Guru Shri Charanaravinda. Ande Guru Shri Charanaravinda. Prasada Bhagavad Prasada.
Can you mute your microphone? Tony, can you mute
Yasya
your mic?
Prasadan Bhagavad Prasado. Yasya Prasada Nagita Kutopi.
Yes,
Jaya Prasada, Jaya Prasada, Jaya Prasada, Nagati Utapi.
Yayam Stuvam Stasyaya Sastri Sanyam Vande Guru Shri Chana Vindam
Jaya Stuvasta, Jaya Satri Shanga, Vande Guru Sri Charanaravinda.
Srimad Gurursta Kamita Tuchaye Rame Muhurte Patati Prayatnat
Srimad
Srimad
Guru
Guru
Rata Swami Padu
Ramita
Rame
Murte
Murte
Patati
Praya
Prayana.
Astina Vrindavananata Sashat Sri Vallabhya Janushritaeva
Vindam Vananata Sacha
Ananta
Sevaivalaya Janusholadeva.
Vande Guru Sri Charanarvindam Vande Guru Sri Charanarvindam
Vande Guru
Guru
Sri
Sri
Charanaravinda.
Charanaravinda Vande Guru Sri Charanaravinda
Charanaravinda.
Jai Gurudev.
Aye.
Page 149. 149. Guru Parampara. Oh, who knows how to sing that one? There, Harinanda, you or any of the other ladies?
Little Maharaj, one moment. I in the Kirtangai.
Okay.
¿Me pueden ayudar a buscar? Okay. Okay. Hare Krishna, Krishna hoite chatur mukha, hone Krishna sevo mukha.
Krishna hote chatur mukha, hana Krishna
Krishna
seva mukha.
Sevamika
Brahma hoite naradera mati.
Brahma
Namo
hote
Buddhaya
naradera
Namaste.
mati.
Nara hoite vyasa, mada kohe vyaso daso.
Nara hote
Vyasa
naradesa.
Punna pranya pramad baba gati.
Pura brahma bhagavati.
Nihari Madhava Hanse Aksoya Paramahanse.
Nihari
Hari
Madhavamse
Bhagavanse Akshobhya Paramahamse
Siya Boli Angikara Kore.
Akshobhya Angikara Kore
Asobera Sisoya Titaname Parichaya.
Akshobhya Sishvajaya Kirtanani Parishaya
Tahang Hoye Dasajani Sunditore.
Aradasa Jnana Sindhu Kore
Taha Hote Dyajani Di Taranda Sabiyani Di.
Ahoy Taradasa Srimati
Rajendra Hoyle Tangha Hoite. Taha hore kiko jai dharme name parishaya. Parampara jano valo mate. Jaja dharma dase kyati sipuro chatama jati.
Jaya Dharma
Taha hote brahma jana tita suri. Vyasatita tarada srami pati vyasadasa. Taha hoite Madhavendra Puri. Madhavendra Puri Varasisha Basirishwara. Nityananda Sira Dvaita Vidu. Ishwara Puri ke danja korile nachi Chaitanya. Jaga Guru Gaura Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu Sri Chaitanya Radha Krishna Nahe Aja. Rupa Nuga Janera Jivana. Mahaprabhu Sri Chaitanya Radha Krishna Nahe Aja. Rupa Nuga Janera Jivana. Visvambara Priyam Para Siswarupa Damodara.
Priyankara Sri Swarupa Damodara
Sri Goswami Rupa Sanatana. Rupa Priya Mahayana Jiva Raghunatahana. Taram Priyau Kavi Krishna Daso. Krishna Dasa Priyambara Narottama Seva Paro.
Narottama Seva Paro.
Krishna Dasa Priyambara Narottama Seva Paro.
Krishna Dasa Priyambara Narottama Seva Paro.
Jarampada Vishwanatha So. Vishwanatha Bhakta Sakta Baladeva Yaganatha.
Vishwanatha
Karam Priya Sivakti Vinoda.
Priya Sri Bhakti Vinoda
Bhagavata Vara Sri Gaura Kishora Vara.
Mahabhagavata Vara Sri Gaura Kishora Vara
Mahabhagavata Vara Sri Gaura Kishora Vara.
Mahabhagavata Vara Sri Gaura Kishora Vara
Hari Vaya Nityandamoda
Hari Bhajale Teyara Mokoda
Tadanuga Mahajana Sri Krishna Kirtanagara
Taranuga Mahajana Shri Krishna Kirtanagara
Jevadilao Puri Jaga Kama Sirvasana Vibhavara Sadasaya Seva Paro Samharo Dayito Dadasa Tadabina Dehadija Eswarupa Ragujija Sadasaya Janhara Pada Padma Susidanta Murti Dara Sisidara Guravara
Susidanta Murti Dara Sisidara Guravara
Susidanta Murti Dara Sisidara Guruvara
Susidanta Murti Dara Sisidara Guruvara
Rupanuga Sadhu-Sanga Sadma Taram Priyamana Vista Tapane Sada Shesta
Tara Priyamana
Bhakti Sundar Sri Govindanama
Bhakti Sundara Sri Govinda Nama
Tara Priyamananita Achana Prachara Rata
Tara Priyamanita
Tara Priyamananita Achana Prachara Rata
Tara Priyamanita
Bhakti Nirmal Sriracharya Nama
Bhakti
Bhakti Nirmal Sriracharya Nama Ei Parampara Savegaura Nija Jana Tanderau Chiste Morakama Hare Krishna 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare
Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Rama Rama
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama,
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaura Premanande.
Puri, Hare Ananda Prabhu ki jai.
Jai.
Bhakti Niskam Santa Maharaja ki
Jai.
Srila Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj ki
Jai.
Bhakti Kama Shanta Maharaj ki all devotees ki
jai. Thank you, Prabhu. Jai Nityananda Prabhu ki jai.
Jai.
Okay. Very nice. It's good to remember the Guru Parampara, that our Guru Varga, especially in these days, it's a little confusing for some people. Anyhow, Krishna has his own plans. We have our plans, Krishna has his. Let's see, so sometimes we just have to wait and see. We hope that somehow a proper understanding. Sridhara used to talk about proper conception. And a proper conception, a proper understanding will come about. Sometimes it takes a little time. Krishna has his own time reference frame. And we have ours and he has his. And it takes a little time to understand things. But hopefully, things will be properly understood. They will arrange the situation so that that may happen, I'm sure. After all, this is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement. And there have been always branches, differences coming about history of time, during the time, in history, I should say. There are many different branches of Mahaprabhu's movement, some going in this direction, some going in that, not always in the proper direction. Sadhu-Sanga and other forms of deviation do occur. There's no guarantee that one will go in the proper direction. But if we are sincere, Krishna will direct us within our heart to the proper goal. We have confidence in that. He knows what our heart wants. Just as we've seen, so many things happen since Gaudiya Math was created. Not only since Gaudiya Math, but before that even. So many different varieties of Vaishnavism were practiced, so-called Vaishnavism, were practiced before Bhakti Yoga. So many different groups came out. And Bhakti Yoga tried to preach very vigorously to straighten out what was the proper conception of Krishna consciousness and what was going in the wrong direction. And Saraswati Thakur also had the same goal in his preaching mission to separate out what is proper, what is not proper, direction. And then Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, Bhakti Yoga Prabhupada. Okay, after the Gaudiya Math also had so many different branches going out from it. Some could accept, some could not accept where it has been. So Srila Prabhupada and Srila and so many other sannyasis from the Gaudiya Math split into different directions, different peoples. And then even after Prabhupada established ISKCON, then some devotees who are now that are acting as acharyas in Sri Chaitanya Saraswati, they also left from there. And now they are creating something of their own idea of leading the devotees different ways. And Shanta Maharaj is there also. I know Shanta Maharaj, and I trust his understanding of Krishna consciousness. He's trying his best very sincerely. And I have confidence in him, and I don't feel so happy about what others are doing, some others are doing, because I just don't see that kind of harmony that should be there in the heart of the Vaishnava. To be against someone as strongly as that seems to be the mentality in the other group, and even the mass devotees, the disciples of Jaya Maharaj, have some kind of antagonism toward one person, Santa Maharaj. That is not to be found in the heart of a Vaishnava. That kind of divisive mentality. I don't see how that's possible. No. Proper respect should be given to the proper person. Santa Maharaj is a very good preacher, very faithful, very dedicated, not to Srila Maharaj, Govinda Maharaj, and Acharya Maharaj. We know that. Those who have some even-minded temperament, more objective view, they can understand that Santa Maharaj is a very important devotee in our whole movement, and very significant part of Acharya Maharaj's preaching. Yet somehow, without any real understanding, there's some antagonism toward him. And that is, in its very essence, wrong. It's very improper. Not to be against the Vaishnava like that. So that indicates to me there's something basically not proper, improper. It's absolutely improper heart development. Improper development of Krishna consciousness is there, and I don't go in that direction. I am not attracted to go in any direction which has that kind of thing at its basis. That kind of offensive nature at its basis. That cannot lead to anything good. Cannot lead to anything good. So this I find very objectionable. And the herd may be going in that direction, but that is based upon some kind of dissatisfaction. Unjustifiable. Antagonism toward one person who's doing his best to serve and to preach and to try to help the mission. Santa Maharaj was trying to help the mission in so many ways. If he weren't there, what could have happened? We know there were so many forces acting against even if you were Acharya Maharaj. And if Shantabhas weren't there, those forces would have taken over the whole thing. So he was able to stem that tide of misappropriation in India, thankfully. But no one in the opposing camp seems to recognize that. Gives any credit for that. So this is very one-sided thinking, very imbalanced, not really fair, not really justified. Anyhow, they're going on with that evil, what I call evil within their hearts. And I cannot simply accept that. Whatever that comes out from that is poison, is colored by that impropriety at the heart of things. Whether they call it envy or whatever, but basic misunderstanding, very deep misunderstanding. Unwillingness to see things in a more, what I consider objective way. And we all, I think, can see that also. And we just can't accept that. I think the proper way to conduct our spiritual lives, and now or in the future. So somehow we have to hope that will become clear, clarified, and more harmonious and affectionate, enlightened understanding will come about. Let's see. If not, we have to go on. When I was actually, I went to ISKCON GBC to ask them. I asked them if I could take an initiation. I didn't ask them. I was actually telling them I wanted to take initiation from sannyas from Sridhara Maharaj. He would give to me, and I told them that I wanted to continue working in my position as the director and guru of the Bhakti Yoga Institute. And I wanted to inform them that that was my intention. But they were not willing to accept that. Any connection with Sridhara Maharaj, they did not want. And there I felt again that problem. See, that problem comes up many times. Some kind of animosity towards a genuine Vaishnava. Prabhupada had so much affection for Sridhara Maharaj, a genuine Vaishnava, but so much animosity towards that. Then what kind of conception can promote that? Can promote that type of mentality? I did not like that. No, I could not be part of that. But anyhow, I was hoping that that would be harmonized also, but eventually it never became harmonized, and they just decided that those who went to Sridhara Maharaj, they were no longer wanted as servitors in Srila Prabhupada's movement. So for that reason, they separated me from ISKCON. Not that I left. I never left. I always wanted to serve Prabhupada's orders, serve his mission. And I continue to do that in my own way, with help from Prabhupada's instructions and his, to me, and also the wonderful Shiksha instructions we receive from Sridhara Maharaj and Govinda Maharaj and all the devotees on that side. But again, this problem comes. The problem comes. Not accepting a Vaishnava. Not accepting a Vaishnava.
Maharaj,
Yes.
can I ask some Is there also in the spiritual world? I've heard there's also some
disagreement.
yes. This is true.
Hare Krishna. I'm not so familiar with those things, but I understand that Chandravali, Radharani, they have some disagreement on different way of doing things. I guess we can look at it from that point of view, and there are groups there, divisions. I think we have that kind of vision, sure. We can adjust it from that perspective also. And yeah, I see it in a more mundane way, I guess. And why these things should arise, and whether we accept them or not. As a practitioner, practicing life now. What makes our heart go in one direction or the other? And this thing I find to be the initiating cause of that. What do you feel? What is your understanding? Are you still driving? Maybe get remote. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Could you hear me?
Just about. It comes in and out sometimes, Maharaj.
Oh, I'm sorry. Are you still driving?
Yes, nearly there though.
Oh, okay.
5 minutes.
Well, I was asking you that I gave you my understanding of what is driving my direction. This problem I see. What is your understanding?
Maharaj, little Spanish for Aditinanda.
Oh, you want? Okay. Can you hold on that? You can think about that for a minute.
Yes, sure, Maharaj.
Okay. Thank you, Maharaj.
El Maharaja, el Maharaja estaba hablando un poco acerca de que en estos tiempos es importante entender la canción Sri Guru Parampara, porque estos tiempos son un poco de confusión. Entonces es bueno cantar esta canción, leerla, meditarla. Y también el Maharaja habló acerca de que Srila Shanta Maharaj está trabajando hermosamente, muy feliz. Se le ve todo el tiempo haciendo actividades devocionales, no solamente haciéndolas, sino que en la ejecución de ese servicio, de esa propagación de las enseñanzas, se le ve claramente en los videos, en su acción, en su gesto, todo se le ve que lo hace con mucha felicidad. Entonces el Maharaj dice que él observa todo, todos podemos observar toda esa actitud del Maharaj, ¿no? Y que, bueno, que él no es él está hablando que él no es una persona de estar oponiéndose o interviniendo mucho públicamente así, pero él es muy observador y él único que puede expresar es eso, que él observa la felicidad con que el Maharaj hace su servicio y también los devotos que lo acompañan o que lo estamos acompañando, ¿no? En eso siempre estamos tratando de cumplir nuestra parte. No hay una cosa que te diga, sí, este es el camino correcto o este no es el camino correcto. Lo único que eso te lo puede decir, eso puede decirlo es la sinceridad. Es el único valor que podemos cultivar dentro de nosotros que nos puede guiar por el sendero que es el correcto, la sinceridad. Entonces, esa depende del grado de sinceridad. Entonces el Señor va a colocarnos en la posición donde debemos estar. Eso va más allá de nuestra mente, de sentimientos, sino esa es la actitud de sinceridad. Entonces, en resumen, un poco él estaba hablando acerca de esa situación y también alabando, glorificando todo el trabajo que está haciendo Srila Bhakti Yoga Shanta Maharaj en favor de mantener la idea original de nuestros guardianes anteriores. Él está trabajando fielmente en mantener esa prédica original, esa concepción original, una concepción verdadera. Entonces, apegada al parampara, a los maestros anteriores, a nuestro Guru Varga, a todo nuestro linaje. Y esas cosas hay que saber ver, no solamente ver, observar y tomar nosotros también nuestras propias decisiones basadas en lo que estamos viendo con corazón sincero. Más o menos eso es lo que ha dicho en resumen el Maharaja, o al menos lo que yo, sabes que no sé inglés muy bien, que no sé nada, pero más o menos he escuchado es con mi corazón, no con mis oídos. Entonces, a través de lo que estoy escuchando con mi corazón es lo que te puedo transmitir, bro. Gracias.
Gracias, Ariananda. Maharaja está en Puri ahora. Está en Puri. Ah, bueno. Dandava.
Okay, then Dandavat. And Kanapriya Didi, what is your, anything you wanted to say? Yes.
I just wondered if you could, I must have missed what you said before. If we could, if it's possible.
The thing I'm emphasizing is this, that there seems to be an animosity toward Shanta Maharaj that is quite unjustifiable, completely unjustifiable in my opinion, because he is a very sincere, dedicated, and I think highly realized devotee. And just like in ISKCON, when they could not accept Sridhara Maharaj in a very, I felt in a very offensive way, I could not justify or cannot feel happy with any organization that would have that kind of, for people who would have that kind of thing in their heart against a genuine Vaishnava. Just not seems suitable to me as a spiritual atmosphere to be among such offensive mentalities. And just my heart did not accept that. So I wanted Sridhara Maharaj to be accepted by them, and I wanted to be within ISKCON and hope that would be acceptable eventually among them, but somehow or other they would not even allow me to stay. And they rejected me because I was going to Sridhara Maharaj. So I had no choice but to leave them, but I never felt that I was in any way antagonistic to ISKCON or Prabhupada or devotees or anything. But I just didn't like that mood. And I was happy not to be in that kind of situation, atmosphere. And I think there is also something like that happening today in the Chaitanya Saraswati, that there is this antagonism, anger, and hatred, and even envy, or whatever you want to call it, against Shanta Maharaj, who was a very simple and genuine and very intelligent, dedicated, loyal devotee. And that does not sit well with me. That kind of mentality, that kind of mood, again, and not something that I'd expect to find in the spiritual community. So I don't favor that type of association. And I'm praying that somehow or other this realization will come to them. Although I don't know if it will, because these things are very deep-seated. And of course, they all, in the case of ISKCON, in the case of those devotees today who are where they are at, there are many other things that go through their hearts and minds. I'm sure of that. But this is one thing that I think we can focus on to try to understand how this point differentiates us very deeply. And I was just wondering, what is your reason for you know, associating with Santa Maharaj and those and sort of favoring those people. I think I don't know exactly what your attitude is, but I think you're making a choice or decision between these two groups, you could call, or two understandings of what is Sri Chaitanya Saraswati and what is your spiritual, you know, aspiration in being associated with these groups. So I want your comment on that.
My comment on that. Big question mark. How do I answer? Well, you know, I think you know, when we listen up, we hear about what is favorable and what is unfavorable to our devotional life. And I think we have to take away, we have to strip away, you know, there's lots of social, you know, friends, family, all these things. And we have to really, I think, get to the bare roots of things and really analyze things for the benefit of our spiritual life. And also about relationship. I think one thing, you know, with Shanta Maharaj, I mean, I was away from the temple for some time for just family reasons. But Shanta Maharaj, he, you know, brought us to the lotus feet of Acharya Maharaj in a more personal way. And he was very enthusiastic. And I think this is one thing I think also is about relationships. When you have some relationship or some contact or some understanding of somebody, you know, and see the good qualities, then, and see the benefits, you know, it comes back to that. What was the progress? What was that relationship about? And if it's bringing you to a point to Krishna, then I think that's valuable, very, very valuable. It's a minefield, isn't it? Even in Acharya Maharaj's books, you know, in his books and guidance, he talks about trying to somehow navigating our way through, even amongst devotees, and trying to constantly align ourselves with that truth. And it's a very tough road sometimes because, you know, there's people that you like and try and remain neutral. But I learned so much from Shanta Maharaj, actually, really. I really did. Over the years that I've known him, I've learned so much. And that's really helped me on my spiritual path. So just through process of that, really, just and listening to others and listening here and there, and I think there's that. Also reading Sri Guru and his grace and knowing, you know, going where the current is. So I think, you know, our spiritual journeys are all a personal one, and we have to be responsible for our spiritual lives. So, you know, even if it means people don't like you for whatever reason, you have to accept that. So and also have much affection for yourself, and I've learned so much from yourself. So that's my reasons for being here, and also you know, listening to Shanta Maharaj and having his association by some good fortune. And it's very, like you're saying, it's a very difficult time at the minute. There's lots of fighting and opposition, and I think from things that maybe have been said or happened in the past, and I mean, I don't know all of that, only sort of what people have said, but we don't always know the full picture. That's the other thing, you know. We don't always know. We don't have the eyes to see that. So we have to follow what feels right in what's progressing us. I don't know if I'm making much sense here, Maharaj, but I think, you know, I think I'm not really one for being in fights or taking sides. I'm just trying to follow what I understand as the current and what I can grasp, and the little that I've grasped, the little that I know, what nourishes me in that way. I don't have much intelligence. I'm not that clever. So, but I don't think, you know, the fighting is helping. I think there's, you know, I don't think joining them is a good idea in terms of fighting, or one should stand up for oneself. But I think there comes a point where you just have to move forward and carry on with the Krishna's work. I don't know if that's answered anything, Maharaj, or giving you understanding of where I'm coming from, or what my understanding is. You know, ultimately, I love everybody. I have no hate towards anyone. I have no, and also I feel I've no qualification to judge anybody in that way. But so I'm just following where I feel the current is.
Yeah. Yes. I think Srila Maharaj also preaching something like that to us. We have to follow where our heart is leading us. Our heart brought us to this, to Gurudev's feet, and it will continue to guide us. That Chaitanya Guru, what we want to follow, that impression we have in our heart from the various teachings of our gurus, tells us which way it seems right or not. That's all we have to go on as far as trying to remain true to ourselves, sincere to our own selves, and sincere to the teachings that we have been given and our understanding of them, to whatever degree we have. Like you said, we don't know the whole story. Nobody does. Right? Nobody ever does. We're just like pawns on a chessboard, and somebody's playing us, pushing us in this way.
Yeah.
Sometimes we have to be sacrificed.
Yeah.
And sometimes we have to conquer somebody else, sacrifice somebody else. But anyhow, it's not really our doing in that sense, in that higher sense. But anyhow, it's interesting. The game is very interesting. And we have to try to make our own way and understand the peace properly as much as is possible. Let's see. Krishna knows what is our heart. He knows what we want. And he's giving that. We don't realize he's supplying us our desires. So those who desire him, he will give himself. And it's always not the easiest thing to discern whether we are wanting him or something else. That's the flight of the conditioned soul. Anyhow, yes, we have to try to associate with those who think more in our life and are helping us to make progress toward that goal. That is our only, what do you want to say? That is our only means of going on. And even if we can't find anyone who has the same idea that we have, similar, then what? And still we have our heart. That poem, Sri Maharaj's book, heart within and God overhead. That heart within means our sincerity. And there is Krishna who knows what is in our hearts. And he won't do anything that will harm us. Always help us. Although it seems like we may be being punished by God sometimes for some activity. But that is meant to correct us. I remember one devotee who came to me once and said, "Why is Krishna punishing me so much?" And I said to him, "Krishna not punishing you, he's polishing you.
Nice.
He's polishing your heart."
Yes, yes.
Stay bright and shiny. Very nice.
Yes.
Thank you for your
Dhanyavad,
words.
Maharaj. Dhanyavad, Maharaj.
Maharaj, can I ask,
Yes.
what actually is the conflict? I don't know. I've sort of,
What is the conflict?
I don't know, because
Yes.
the Shanta Maharaj is made the head of something, isn't he? There's some sort of conflict going on that they don't want him to be the Akara. Is that it?
Yes, that is a main consideration for them.
And is that a large proportion of the of the devotees?
Yes, that is also a large proportion who agree with that kind of idea. My point is that I don't know what the justification of that is, because like Kanapriya and I both, I think, agree that Shanta Maharaj is very good Vaishnava. He's very helpful in his spiritual life, and he's been nothing but great help to the mission this whole period that he's been associated with for the last at least 15 years or so. And especially in the last few years, he's been an intimate servitor and help in association with Acharya Maharaj. And even at present, after Acharya Maharaj disappears, he's done a great deal to help the mission in India stay together. So a lot of personal, you call ego, I don't know if they call it ego fighting or whatever, but it doesn't seem anything very spiritual to me that's involved in this kind of disagreement.
That's my opinion.
I'm sorry?
That's my opinion as well.
Yes.
I find it quite disturbing to know that within such an organisation or something, this is going on in that way.
Yes.
I find it.
Yes, like I said, it happens. It's happened historically so many times also. As Kanapriya was trying to point out before, also there's something of a spiritual root to this type of disagreement and party spirit that we find even in Krishna's pastimes between the different devotees. So there are different moods and different ways of proceeding and different ways of showing service, the mood of service. That not necessarily it's all one, Anyhow, it makes it, like I said, it keeps it interesting. Krishna is said to move in a crooked way. He has threefold bending form, and I always interpret that form as the primary movement of reality of Krishna as thesis, antithesis, and synthesis. There's someone comes up with a thesis, and then before you know it, there's an opposition to that. And then when the opposition comes and the two are there together, then some type of synthesis has to be made. So this keeps the play alive, keeps our life going. If it was always going in one direction, we might become distracted and bored, actually. So these things keep us interested, keep us active, and keep on thinking, going deeper.
I was just about to say that, Maharaj. I think it does definitely make you go a lot deeper into your own self-analysis and real questions your real intentions, or many things.
Yes, they told that also. But who believes that is the real test? The real test will come then. Where are you at? What is your actual commitment to go in the proper direction. So these things are to be understood, I think, at that level. Where are we going? Where are we trying to direct our hearts, our lives? Do we want to go to the transcendental plane? Do we want to stay at the level of social, political existence, material existence? So one has to, spiritual life, we have to understand what that is. One of the things that I find that not many devotees think that deeply about things is, and when Srila Prabhupada asked me, for instance, to prove that matter comes from life, I was completely disoriented by that question and how to answer it. Though it seemed to make sense to me, in a certain way, whatever I do and experience in my life. At the same time, I had absolutely no idea how that would come about, how to explain that. And anyhow, that kind of thoughtful questioning is something that has directed my life ever since I met Srila Prabhupada, because he asked me to show that using science. And I don't know how many devotees actually have that kind of question in their mind, those kind of things in their mind when they're engaged in spiritual and devotional. These are very deep questions. And it's very nice to chant, to eat prasad, and do temple duties and devotional duties and so forth. But that thoughtful process also has to be going on to delve deeper and deeper into what is the spiritual truth of things. Not that it's only knowledge. What he has so much attraction to Krishna, he wants to know. Who is that? What is that? And how I can come closer and closer to that realization. And of course, we have to have lots of dedication, devotion in order to do that. But it's not that I don't think anyone ever stops inquiring about those things. Sridhara Maharaj wrote that book, Search for Sri Krishna. He said, we never think of finding Krishna. It's always about searching for Krishna. The goal is not to find Krishna. The goal is to search for Krishna. So that searching is a part of our devotional life. To think that we have it, that is not a very safe position, you could say. The infinite is not to be grasped, and to be submitted to. That's all we can do. We cannot grasp the infinite. We are finite. What are we to grasp by the infinite? That may mean we have some finite conception of it. The only thing we can do with it, the finite can do with it, is submit to it. The truth is there already existing. Yeah? We have to accept that. And affectionately, not a matter of just some bland or dutiful or what would you want to say, uncommitted submission. Okay, well, I have to do this, fine. No, not like that. But there's some loving relationship that's established between the finite and the infinite. It's beautiful and sweet and charming. Anyhow, so this is the goal that we're trying to reach. If you say goal, the goal is not to reach some kind of final destination, but to be involved in that process, dynamic. That is Leela. We will see it more in a more fun way, or joyful way, as we get to that higher plane, by the grace of the infinite itself. It will become more of a game, of a play. And then when we are very seriously having some difficulties and attachments to mundane things, But that has to come by our realization. Anyhow, it was very nice hearing from you. We hadn't heard from you, Linda.
We just paused.
Huh?
The connection just paused.
Okay, everyone back. All right. Any other comments, questions?
Yes, Maharaj.
Okay.
SES Mutt was founded, as we know, by Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhara Maharaj and Srila Bhakti Niskam Shanta Maharaj, and you are beautifully preaching the ideal and teachings as Guru Maharaj left us. That must be the focus. Always be very careful to always keep in mind the teachings of the guardian of devotion. And currently, those ideas are manifesting in Srila Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj and Srila Bhakti Niskam Shanta Maharaj. And although we are without qualification, still we have the inner Guru. If we sincerely listen to him, then we have to go formally in that direction. In this era, there will always be opposition and disturbances. It is the nature of this era. But if we are sincere, we will surely be protected by the Lord. That is our hope. That is our faith. And then with enthusiasm, love, and dedication, we must continue working, supporting the Maharaj and following the personal instructions that he mercifully gives us in a general and personal way. When he writes to us and leaves us a message, it does not matter if the message on WhatsApp. The important thing is that it is an instruction from the Guru. It is an instruction from the Guru, and it is our fortune to receive it and putting it into practice. We can't wait any longer in this world. Only hope that our Gurus will smile and be satisfied with our little service. That is the highest realization that we fallen beings can hope to obtain in this life. For Haribol, we have to always return to the true root, Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhara Maharaj forever.
People. Yes, very nice words of a faithful soul. Like your association is very valuable to all of us, giving us so much nourishment and encouragement. Anyone else? Nandan, anyone else want to say? Madhu Gopal? Who is Madhu Gopal? I don't know.
Dandavad Maharaja, Dandavad all devotees.
Oh, Dandavad Prabhu. Where are you from?
Mexico. Mexico, Maharaj.
Acha. Thank you. Okay. Viva la México.
Maharaj, ayer fue la desaparición de Ramananda Roy. Yesterday, he read the Ramananda Roy disappearance.
Yesterday, I think. Huh? Anyhow, yes. Ramananda Roy. Ramananda Samvad. Very important. Srila Maharaj used to talk about the evolution of consciousness. You saw that book, Subjective Evolution of Consciousness. And in the Ramananda Samvad, we also see something like that. The evolution of devotion. From the most formal to the most intimate, concrete, and sweetest conception. And I always thought of that as a beautiful study in the comparison of religions. It's very hard to understand how the religions differ from one another and how they are the same. You know? So by studying the Ramananda Samvad, we can get some idea about those things. What religion is teaching a higher conception of surrender and love, and which are teaching a more general conception. So that is a very important part of Mahaprabhu's Lila. And Krishna Kesava keeps reminding me that Ramananda Roy was the mayor of Vidyanagar. Vidyanagar, of course, means the knowledge of the relationship. Relationship. The loving relationship in the Lord and devotee. And that is real knowledge. That is real Vidya. Any knowledge which does not contain knowledge of that is not real knowledge. It's useless. Not useless, but it doesn't come to the proper conclusion. Siddhanta or Vedanta. In that sense, it's wasted time. Okay, any other? Else want to say something?
Maharaj, un little for Aditinanda en español.
Okay.
Raúl, el comentario que se hizo fue allí, que dice, el Sri Chaitanya Saraswat fue fundado, como sabemos, por Srila Bhakti Rakshak de Goswami Maharaj y Srila Nishkama Shanta Maharaj. Perdón, el Sri Chaitanya Saraswat fue fundado, como sabemos, por Srila Bhakti Rakshak de Goswami Maharaj. Entonces, Srila Bhakti Nishkama Shanta Maharaj y Srila Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj están hermosamente predicando ese ideal y las enseñanzas tal cual nos las dejó, nos las legó Guru Maharaj. Ese debe ser nuestro enfoque, tener siempre mucho cuidado y tener siempre pendiente las enseñanzas del guardián de la devoción. Y actualmente esas ideas o el ideal de esas enseñanzas están manifiestos a la vista, se están manifestando en Srila Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj y Srila Bhakti Nishkama Shanta Maharaj. Y aunque nosotros somos personas sin calificación alguna, no tenemos ninguna calificación, aún así tenemos al Guru interno en el corazón. Y si con sinceridad escuchamos al Guru interno, entonces tenemos que ir formalmente en esa dirección, porque de seguro nos va a llevar allí. En esta era, en verdad, Prabhu, siempre habrá oposición y disturbio, porque es la naturaleza de esta era. Pero si somos sinceros, de seguro seremos protegidos por el Señor. Esa es nuestra esperanza, esa es nuestra fe. Y entonces con entusiasmo, amor, dedicación, debemos seguir trabajando, apoyando a los Maharaj y siguiendo las instrucciones personales que Él misericordiosamente nos va dando de manera general y de manera personal. Cuando nos escribe y, por ejemplo, nos deja un mensaje, no importa si ese mensaje es por WhatsApp, lo importante es que es una instrucción del Guru y es nuestra fortuna recibirla y ponerla en práctica. No podemos esperar más en este mundo, no hay más nada que aquí podamos esperar, solo aspirar a que nuestros maestros, nuestros guardianes sonrían un poco y estén satisfechos con nuestro pequeño servicio. Esa es de hecho la más alta realización que nosotros, almas miserables y caídas, podemos aspirar a obtener en esta vida. Ora Haribol, debemos regresar a las verdaderas raíces, Srila Bhakti Rakshak de Goswami Maharaj por siempre.
I don't know what he said, but it sounded good anyhow.
What I just read in English, when I read his message in English, he said in Spanish.
Nice. Do you want to ask a question? No. Okay.
Maharaj, I'm
Yes,
afraid. What is the opposition to Shanta Maharaj then? What is the problem with? Yeah, what is the opposition to him being?
they think he is just doing things out of pratishta. Pratishta means ego, getting some position.
Oh,
Huh? He wants the position of acharya, and they don't like that. They think that is not proper thing to do. Now, of course, this is not proper. That if someone wants to be in a high position, but that is not his mood. That is not his mentality. He's a genuine.
I came on about a year ago, so I had lots of Zoom. He led lots of Zoom meetings that I sort of attended.
Yes.
What before the other Acharya passed away. So and then it all sort of changed. So
Yes.
and I thought it was incredibly sincere, and I suppose I relate to him as a scientist myself.
Yeah.
He's never come across to me as being an egotistical type of a person.
No.
I find it quite, I don't know, it's quite hard to understand what the opposition is to him being the leader of, I don't know, the organization.
Yes. Unfortunately, there is that kind of egotism within the society as a whole, especially among those who consider themselves or have been designated as acharyas or teachers. They feel threatened by him because he's very intelligent and he's a scientist and he can preach to many different types of people. He can speak in many different languages. So I feel there's some kind of
yes, I can understand. Yeah.
I don't like to say envy, but that may be the basic premise for their antagonism.
Yeah, I can relate.
Yes. So, I'm just hoping that there's somehow or other that their hearts may be softened somehow. And also there's another situation, and that is some controversy has arisen as to who the next acharya should be. Now, many of the disciples of Acharya Maharaj felt that this other devotee, named Niriha Maharaj, should be the next Acharya. Although that was never proposed by Acharya Maharaj himself. And in India, the situation was that Niriha Maharaj, although maybe a very humble and a good soul, he seemed as not to be so competent or understanding things as to be in a position of guru. He seems to be still a beginner and trying to make his way sincerely from whatever he understands, but not having that much, I would say, capacity to be acharya, especially on the whole mission. But anyhow, somehow or other, there are certain devotees who wanted him to be the acharya. In a way, he's very, because of his present condition, he's very manipulable. But that's not acharya. Acharya can't be manipulated. There's somebody who's manipulated to do whatever we want. Anyhow, I don't want to get into any criticism of Niriha Maharaj from that plane. But the point is that in India, the managers, they were not so satisfied with selecting him because of his apparently incompetence to do things as an acharya, inability or whatever, his unpreparedness, whatever we want to call it. And so they could see that Shanta Maharaj was very qualified, and Niriha Maharaj was not so qualified to know in that area. And so they elected, actually, by meeting the managers, they elected Shanta Maharaj to be the acharya, president acharya of the Math. Because they could see he was capable of handling things and preserving the teachings of Acharya Maharaj and the other gurus more readily and more efficiently, more properly than anyone else that was there at the time. And he's proven that to be the case. But anyhow, a mass of devotees, not a mass, or the majority of devotees, disciples of Majaraja Maharaj, they were spurred by certain devotees in different places of the world to accept Majaraja Maharaj and the Acharya. And I feel it was like all very unspiritual kind of, propaganda type of things. No doubt filled with a lot of feeling and emotion, but not much thought, not very thoughtfully. And the other part was that kind of like enviousness in the part of leaders who were against the Maharaj from their own hearts. And these combined together and created the present situation we have of opposition to him. These things occur, like sometimes it is said that a fire starts in the forest by simply the rubbing of the bamboo trees against one another, and a fire ignites due to the friction. So something like that happened. A fire has been ignited, and it turned out to be against Santa Maharaj. But how much that is validated by the actual facts of the situation, that is very questionable, very questionable. But as it is, it happened. And we have to accept that for now and hope that by Krishna's grace, Mahaprabhu's grace, everything will be cleared up. If not, like Ph.D. was saying, we have to go on. We have to go on with our life, our spiritual life. And like I said, I faced this kind of situation before, and it's been faced by many devotees before me also, and continually to be faced. We just go on with our service as best we can. And we learn from the example of Srila Prabhupada himself, who had to face that kind of difficulty. Everyone was against him, basically, in his own mission. He had a friend in Srila Maharaj and some others, but everyone else was basically antagonistic toward him and thought him to be very proud, trying to do things that they could not themselves do. And still he went on at things and became very successful. And also Sridhara Maharaj, he had to leave the association of those who he could not find harmonious agreement with. And he went on to develop his own life. I think it's going on like that from time to time. Again, the main thing is your own conviction of your life. What are you looking for? And if that's clear, you remain calm and focused on that. And all these other things, they go by the wayside. Ultimately, we have to remember, this world is not our destination. Our destination is the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, Radharani.
Thank you for the explanation.
Okay, thank you for asking, participating.
I just remember it last year when it all sort of happened, and it's just, you just sort of, I remember all that happening, sort of, and then I thought it calmed down, but it seems to still be smouldering away there, and I suppose at some stage it will sort itself out. But I just find it quite disturbing, I suppose. But yeah.
Yes.
Within a spiritual organization that with the love and the care of devotees and that sort of happens, that's all. But we're human beings.
Yes, to err is human.
Yes, human beings. Thank you.
Okay. Any other comment, questions, suggestions, advice, guidance? Okay. My dandavats to all of you. Very thankful, grateful to your association, your encouragement and your nourishment of my own for life. That everyone keeps well, stays happy, continues on in your spiritual practices, and that you'll come back again next and see me again.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you, Maharaj. De corazón.
Pranava pranams, Maharaj.
Maharaj. Devoto.
Ki jai.
Anda más devoto. Y viva el Barça, el Prabhu Madhugopal.